The following show features episodic breakdowns of Jackass, either performed by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. For your safety, avoid listening to this podcast at all times. Hi, I'm Mikey Aaronworth.
I'm Jason Wellwood.
And I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Welcome to Jackass.
Welcome to Jackast. It's the podcast where we're on a path of destruction through every single episode of Jackass.
We're three lifelong fans of the show, reliving the belly laughs, bad ideas, and broken bones.
Today we're bringing you episode 7 of Viva La Bam. See, I didn't even do the finger guns today, and I didn't even mess up.
Hey!
You did mess up, because this isn't episode 7. This is season 2, episode 7.
Oh, fuck off. You say tomato, I say tomato.
No, you say a key bit of information is missing. That's what you say.
No. You say cum, I say coom. You know, it's the same shit.
I guess that is. I don't know what that has to do with Viva La Bam season 2, but Chris...
There's definitely some cum involved at some point. There has to be, whether we see it or not, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So today, this episode actually aired on June 6th of the year 2004.
Okay.
And it was interesting. It was a fun fact for me today, because I get to shout out some of my favorite people that exist. The Tamils.
Okay.
Sri Lankans.
Yep.
So on this day, Tamil is established as a classical language by President of India. So before then, it wasn't actually considered like a classical language. And they sat down in the two houses of the Indian Parliament and officially declared that. So big ups to Tamil people, man.
You know what? Great stat, Chris. Or great fact. Look at this.
Good pull.
Jay, are you like me, where when Chris, he's like, I got a good one for you guys today. I got to tell you, I got a good one. And you're just like, no, you don't. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I guarantee you don't. Today, I was actually surprisingly caught off guard.
Dude, have you noticed if you'll like do an instant motion, slow motion replay, you'll notice, actually, this is a good segue into this public service announcement I needed to talk about before we got started on this episode. Okay. But as I'm reading that, my phone, I got it like a Tinder message popped up, so I got a little thrown off there. But from here on out, I might, depending on how the fans react, I might have to do the rest of these things off camera.
Why is that?
You know what? I've been getting so many DMs lately, right? And it's not really fair, you know? So you remember before I mentioned how I'm a sex symbol and a podcaster?
Yeah,
you know,
I remember you saying that about yourself. Yes, I do remember. These
messages are coming through like crazy. And
I know.
People are treating me just like a big piece of meat, you know, just a big piece of lovely meat. I have a brain. I'm not just someone who's going to send salacious pictures to people and entertain their fantasies and all that stuff. Like, treat me like a human being, because it's kind of hurts. It hurts to be objectified this way that I've been feeling lately. So if people can't cool their panties and not send me so many damn DMs, and if you do, at least, you know, try and bring my personality into the mix, I'm going to have to go off camera for the rest of this time, because it's distracting, and it's not fair.
Jay, is that why you're off camera? Because you're just afraid of getting too many DMs?
Yes, that must be it. What are we doing here, boys?
Okay, let me tell you a story, Jay. This will bring
show to do today.
This will bring you up to speed. All right, this is part of the show. I was working an event this past weekend. And I've got the Instagram on my phone, because
as do I.
As much as I beg and plead that Chris take over the posting duties of the videos that I so diligently make for this podcast week in, week out, he refuses to do it, but he does keep Instagram on his phone. And it turns out I was working the show, and I kept getting notifications from our Jackass Instagram account. And there was a person who I had responded to once, and this person kept sending things through. I'm like, why is this person like sending like 20 messages in a row? What is going on? And I go in, and it turns out Chris and her were talking back and forth, very aware of the fact that I could see this, but it was getting a little bit flirty.
I said, Mikey's going to look at this at some point, and this is going to be absolutely hilarious. And then you chime in.
But here's the crazy part about it. Okay. I saw there were messages going back and forth. I'm like, you know what? Chris needs this. I'll give this to him. You know, I'll let him have this.
What the fuck?
So charitable.
And then all of a sudden, when I chime back in, there are clearly 15 messages missing from the chat. Where did those messages go, Chris? What were those messages about?
Vanish mode.
Well, if you want to throw your hat in the ring.
The best part is me and Mikey started pretending to be each other. He was like, hey, this is Chris, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd be like, no, this is Mikey, blah, blah, blah. And the poor girl probably had no fucking clue what the hell was going on.
From her perspective, Chris and I are both messaging her from the same account, but she doesn't know when it's me typing.
And we're saying that we're the other person sometimes and not the other times. I was like, this must be like having a conversation with a schizophrenic, to be honest. But
yeah.
Anyways.
It started off, Jay, I brought you into the mix as well. At one point I said, because she was like, I know this is Mikey and it's Chris and it's confusing, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh no, this time it's Jay and Mikey is my favorite co-host. So I put in that word for you, Jay. I mean, you said that, not me.
And then we spread the rumor that you actually don't exist, hence why you're not on camera and we're just making your voice up.
No, I don't exist. I'm an AI generated. I fucking... What look at the timer, boys. 6 minutes in.
This is
what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. This is a good story. Now? I love some good fan interactions. It's good, but we do need you to keep us back on track, Jay, because otherwise, all Chris and I would do is text our fans. Apparently,
right? Yeah, I gotta say, when we came in and Chris said, "Hey, I want to take a minute to talk about the fans," you see the look on his face. He loves it. He's just eating this shit up. You love having fans.
What can I say?
I think you deserve some fans, though. I gotta say, you deserve it, buddy. You went your whole life, almost your whole life, having no fans at all, and now it's all turning up, for you. And I'm just fucking over the moon for you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Really,
right? Jay, he needed this, right? He needed this. Chris needed this.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Viva La Bam! Season 2, Episode 7 is here, and we always got to do a little disclaimer up front. We got Kane and The Undertaker here, the Brothers of Destruction. If you were a little under budget, let's say you're a couple million short, you get these guys instead.
Yeah, someone ordered Kane and The Undertaker on Wish.com and then got these guys.
Which one would be you and which one would be me, Mikey? Sorry, Jay, just because we're brothers.
Oof.
No, that's fine.
Of these
Between
two?
Leatherface and, what was the other guy's name?
Executioner.
Yeah.
Well, I think Mikey would have to be the Kane because he's way more mysterious. Like, I feel like I don't really know. I feel like he's figuratively wearing a mask, if you know what I mean.
It's weird.
I'm trying to create a mysterious aura about me, though, guys.
Okay. Undertaker's mysterious, too.
Yeah, he is. Fine, I'll be Undertaker. Yeah. I don't even know why I was sad about that. He's the coolest fucking wrestler ever.
Does that mean your dad is fucking Paul Bearer? Because that's like the coolest shit ever.
No, he's the Executioner from that show, Uh-Oh.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a Canadian show and a very strange reference for people who don't understand it. But Google Uh-Oh YTV, I guess that's the Canadian kids show. If you want a sense of what Chris is talking about, but the Punisher definitely looks like Leatherface a little bit here.
I say just watch Uh-Oh for the cool prizes, like the hit clips and the yak backs.
Hit clips and yak backs. Dude, that's a good, 100%.
That'll take you back. Oh, man. Hey, it's another episode of Viva La Bam, and it wouldn't be an episode of Viva La Bam if we didn't start out with Bam complaining about something. So what's he going to complain about today? Whatever the fuck I want. Exactly. It's the omelet this time, because there's someone put a tree in his omelet. He doesn't like it, but Bam, didn't you know today is Arbor Day? Yeah, it's celebrated for over 130 years, and it's all about planting trees. But there's some trees on the damn egg, so I guess he's not happy. We get into a fight with Ape, and soon enough, he's outside with his buddies and a chainsaw, and they're cutting down some fucking trees. Shit went sideways fast, eh, boys?
It's so, it just speaks to, this... Jay, we talked about on the last episode, back when Chris was dead last week, we talked about how...
Too busy answering DMs.
Too busy answering DMs, yeah. We talked about how Viva La Bam is often, it starts off really cool, like The Simpsons. They're doing something completely unrelated, but in a way that's it's fun to watch. You don't know how it's going to tie into the rest of the episode, and it's usually a non sequitur, it's completely unrelated. And then they go off and they do the main portion of the episode. This was the worst version of that. It seemed like they were trying so hard to just have a reason to be going out and doing things. And when Bam takes a chainsaw to the trees to cut down trees on Arbor Day, it just reeked of desperation to be punk rock. Oi, fuck trees, fuck the establishment, down with trees, we don't like trees. It was just it was a bit too much, I don't know. Yeah.
So were you practicing that in front of the mirror before we? That was good. I'm just saying that was pretty good.
I practice this in front of the mirror
better
every
than
day.
I
That's honestly how he probably masturbates. He just stares at himself in that accent, fucking pretending he's punk rock, just rubbing one out.
Talking
You're
dirty to
not good
himself.
enough.
Yeah.
Down
Take some of
with the
this spunk
establishment.
over here, mate.
Whip some spunk on your own chest, I bet you wouldn't, you dirty little rotten scoundrel. Yeah, that's what I do.
So the funny thing about this is, the second she mentioned Arbor Day, I just had, like, I just got excited. Like, I remembered nothing about the Arbor Day special, except for the fact that I remember the episode. Like, I didn't know why I liked it, what it was about. But my excitement level kind of jumped up because for whatever reason, it ingrained in my head. And yeah, when he goes out and he starts cutting down the tree, you're like, the fuck are you doing, man? Like, this is Arbor Day, you know? But goddamn, at least in my opinion, did this fucking episode ever pivot into something good? I fucking loved it.
This
get
one
better.
feels like it's up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chris is right. It does get better. It just starts off really. It almost felt kind of like forced. Like the fighting wasn't real. They just needed a reason to, start some shit. And anyway, it keeps going. We get Phil outside. Phil, get out there. Tell him to stop. Says Ape. He's not actually going to do anything. They get to this point, though, where Ape does, get forced out of the house and they have a bit of a confrontation. This is a very NPC conversation between Ape and Glom, the building guy here.
Can I ask you a quick question, Jay?
Hey, would you? Yeah, what's that, buddy?
And it has to do with what you're going to say, but just think about this while you're explaining what that conversation went. Who did this remind you of was having a conversation with Ape if it wasn't Tim Glom?
What did you just ask? I heard every word you said, and I have no idea what you're trying to get at.
To me, Tim Glom reminded me of somebody else in this conversation with Ape. As he kind of breaks it down, who would you think this was?
Like a Jackass member, or what do you
like someone in the crew?
Oh,
so break down what you're going to say, Jay, before I so rudely interrupted.
No, this is like a fucking video game NPC conversation right here. It's like, hey, would you like to cut down some trees? And the fucking dialogue wheel pops up, and Ape has to decide if she'd like to cut down some trees. But she's going for a good guy run, so she picks no.
Yeah, she's going Paragon, not Renegade for our Mass Effect fans.
Okay, so I'll put my note what I had over there then. Basically, she's saying this, and Tim looks... what?
You just completely ignored everything Jay said. You're just like,
it's fine.
You're just
it's fine.
Completely bowled over.
Yeah, well, it's fucking every episode.
No,
what do you fucking think something's different today?
Yeah. We're used to that. It's
exactly.
fine.
No, so what caught my attention was him looking over at Ape and being like, in the most this person way, saying, what, you want to cut down the next one? Like, completely disregarding her entire seriousness of the situation. To me, it was he was pulling a Ryan Dunn. My favorite thing is how Ryan Dunn, when he's dealing with Ape, has this childhood innocence about him, where he somehow is able to make it when she's mad, and he just doesn't even care that she's mad, and he just acts so ignorant and dumb to the fact that she's upset and plays into it even more. And this is the first time I've seen anyone other than Dunn play that role.
Man, it's so funny you say that, because when you asked the question, once I finally understood the question you were trying to ask, I thought to myself, I was like Ryan Dunn, but for a different reason, because there's a point where Ape comes in and Glom goes, "What, Ape?" Like, really gives her attitude. And she completely breaks character and looks at him like, "What, Ape?" Like, looks at him, don't fucking talk to me like that. Like, Ryan Dunn can get away with that, but Tim Glom cannot get away with that. So I missed the part that you were talking about, but I guess he was trying to channel his inner Dunn, and I don't think anyone's supposed to talk to Ape like that except for Dunn and Bam.
Mm-hmm.
So this basically is all taking place. We spent fucking 5 minutes cutting down trees just so we could get the big idea, boys, which is the concept for the episode, right? Let's build a Treetop Casino. That's what we're here for. That's why Chris is so excited, because yeah, it does get better. It does get better from here. But first, we got to fuck around for a bit more, because it feels like they might have been running short. Mm-hmm. They steal Don Vito's car. They take it for a spin out into the woods. We're going to go tree hunting. It's just like getting the family together for Christmas. Everybody piles in. You go pick the one you want. But this time, instead of cutting it down when they get there, what they're going to do is see if the tree can adequately support a structure. And to do this, they're going to hoist Don Vito's car up into the tree. And I love him coming out of the house, chasing after his own car, saying, "I don't have time to play all these reindeer games with all these people." And that's not the first time we hear that line in this episode.
What is Reindeer Games? Like, I know it's a movie, but like,
no idea.
It's a movie. So I think we all had the same reaction. Like, Don Vito, that's not a what are
he
like,
probably
you're
was
using
drinking
that
and
term
passed
wrong,
out the night
right?
before while watching it because it was on TV on Superstation and just was watching the movie Reindeer Games and thought he was being smart.
And then he's got like a thing to say and he's like, I can't wait to use this against them, and uses it twice in 5 minutes. But I looked it up. Turns out Don Vito used that term perfectly.
No way.
I swear. Reindeer
How?
Games, the
Justify
definition
that.
is the bullying activities of a clique. So like when a group of friends... He fucking nailed it. He nailed it. It was like, well done, Vito. Hats off to you.
Is he like secretly actually like very smart and articulate, and we just his brain is thinking so fast that he bobbles out words?
Yeah. His mouth can't keep up with how fast his beautiful mind works.
Yeah. Wow.
You guys noticed that? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm glad you figured that out because I did not expect that to be the case.
I basically looked it up so I could shit on him and then just put my foot in my mouth. Yeah.
Shit. I mean, I don't know if you guys, did you notice this? This is a bit of a production related revelation I've had on this show, and I didn't realize it till this moment, but when they do the weight test to see if the tree can, be hoisted into the car can be hoisted into the tree, on screen we get the words, the weight test, and then it gets its own fucking theme song, like heavy metal music starts playing because we're about to do the weight test. Like, you should be really fucking excited about this.
Yeah.
And I realized they do this shit all the time. They have a subtitle come on screen. And it's like, Ryan Dunn's gonna walk across the yard.
The yard walk.
It's like, they're trying to get you pumped up for something that's really not that big of a deal. I just found it fascinating. I don't know. But listen,
all I could think about this one is sure, the music's playing and all that. There's a winch lifting it up. All I could think, and you'll appreciate this, Jay, the Mythbusters would never let this shit fly. This whole episode looks so fucking dangerous. And lifting this tree up, or this car up into the tree with no safe, even the cutting down of the tree that happens earlier, I was like, man, so much shit could have gone wrong here.
This is exactly, I think, why I love this episode so much.
Yeah.
And it stems from the concept of why I always love Jackass and Jackass related things. But this, it like epitomizes it.
Well, then boy, do I have a podcast for you, Chris.
Oh, let me hear it. What's it called?
It's called Jackass. You're aware that we're doing a podcast, right, Chris?
Well, that's what we've been doing. I thought we were just hanging out on weekends, just talking smack.
Yeah.
But no, what I was gonna say is that it's so. I love it. Just the concept of never having to grow old. It's like Neverland. You know what I mean? Like, boys and you and your buddies being idiots, doing your shit. But now it's like on steroids. Imagine now all of a sudden you're of age. You could drink. You got an MTV budget. You got Tim Glom, who could literally build anything your fucking wildest dreams desire. And you have people paying for this. Who
DM'd us recently, actually.
Yeah,
Tim
that was
Glom
pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
But it just, to me, it's just so fun to think about. Imagine getting to live your life like this for a couple years. Like, I don't know. That's why I get excited.
That is the
you
fantasy.
Turn Arbor Day into a fucking Treetop Casino with a zip line to an ATM. Like, what in the actual fuck? But how amazing is that?
I love the imagination. Yeah.
No, you're right. It's amazing. It's a fucking wonderland out there. And I got to tell you, Reindeer Games or not, I do love that after they ask Vito as the car is hanging there in the tree, he says, Vito, you want your car down? He says, yeah, Bam. Put it down. So he cuts the rope. Car comes crashing to the ground. And you're right. This is a fucking safety hazard all over the place. A tire could have flown off. You knocked Jamie Heinemann's beret right clean off his head if you're not careful. This is not safe. Should have been some paperwork done up front, but I do love after the car is down and, Vito doesn't seem too upset. If anything, I think he's kind of relieved he doesn't have to drive that thing anymore, but we get another dialogue wheel moment here where he sits down on the car and it's kind of like, oh no, wait, sorry. The dialogue wheel moment was before they cut the rope. I fucked up. My notes are all backwards, but basically I was just going to make a joke about how the dialogue wheel pops up and it's either he's going to cut the car or free the children, but it's not important.
Oh, yeah.
Important.
Which one? Like a Spider-Man situation. You can't do both.
Oh, you mean like free the children in like a good way? Like a superhero.
Well, no, it's like the villain has like a bundle of kids dangling, and then like.
Look, I'm just trying to say, look in his trunk is all I'm trying to say. He said something along the lines of, I've got my porn and my pay-per-views in there. I don't know if you guys heard that. I swear that's what I heard. Maybe roll that back, listen in a little closer.
You should listen close because there's clearly like I like you're kind of joking, but this is the third car they've had of his that they've ruined. And the third time his reaction has not been about the car. It's been about the stuff in the car. It happened once when they crushed his truck in Fat Boy Face Off. It happened again when they flipped his car in the charity episode. Or the community service episode. And then it happened again. He's just sitting there. He's like, I had stuff in there. He says, this is the type of shit that'll blow your mind. He says, I had stuff in there. I didn't think this car was going to be flipped over. At this point, that's on you. You've lost two cars. Two cars of yours have been flipped over in like 4 weeks. You got to expect that when you're going there, you know what? Put all your important documents in like a little bag, and when you leave the car, take it with you. You, Don Vito, have to start preparing for this because it's gonna keep happening, and you got to start to expect it.
They call that a wallet where I'm from.
Yeah, that could work. I don't know if he has. You can't fit a hoagie in a wallet. That's the only thing.
That's true. You can't fold one of those bad boys up now. Can you be lettuce everywhere? It'd be a disaster.
And Jay, before you move us on, I forgot we forgot to bring this up. Chris, what did you think of last week's episode?
It was really good.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah, 100%. What
was your favorite part?
Just the way Bam and his cadence on camera, like he really was coming strong.
No. I mean, like the last week's episode of Jackass.
Oh, I know what you're trying to set me up for, the shit talking. I didn't even want to fucking acknowledge that though.
What shit talking?
He already failed the fun fact test.
You already failed.
It's too late.
We set a trap, Chris, to see if you'd listen to the episode, and you didn't listen to the episode.
I've been telling you, I've been so busy answering all these DMs. Chris. It's not fucking fair. I'm just trying to fucking do my best to appease the fucking fans.
He's got too many fans to be fair.
Every other time I've always done it, but now we've blown up on TikTok. We had like millions of views on TikTok. And
we had almost 2 million views on one video. Yeah.
He doesn't even have time to masturbate anymore. Really.
No, he doesn't. And it doesn't even take him very long either. That's the impressive part.
I ain't gonna lie. I know how to please myself.
All right. So I don't know. Back to the car. I don't know what Vito's got in there, but if he does have a bunch of porn and pay-per-views, Vito's clearly not watching the FBI warning that happens at the beginning of those. You're not supposed to tape those. Those are property of Vince McMahon. You don't want to make that guy angry. But hey, we got to move away because we got more shit to do. So now Jay is going to introduce the next segment. The planning begins, and everybody's throwing in their suggestions. What are we going to put in the casino? Strippers and men in spandex? A wrestling ring? How about some roulette? Craps? I got to ask you guys, why do they call it craps? Anybody know why they call that craps?
If anyone would know, Jay, it would be you, I think. And by the way, they're talking about the casino game, Jay. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, just take a big shit on the table.
Just rolling poo dice.
Yeah, poo dice. There you go. A couple of poo dice.
Just the corns represent the numbers on the dice.
So, in your mind, Chris, is this a log shape, or is it poo that's been made into like a 6-sided die?
Poo that's been made into a 6-sided die with each corn being the numbers on the side of the die.
So this is a larger die for sure.
Yeah, unless you had some of those, like those little baby corns that you see in buffets.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that would be like the perfect size for a die. Yeah.
I was thinking more along the lines of like a Steve-O circus trick where you swallow a bunch of dice and then you squat down on the table and you let loose. Whatever.
You know what? That's how you play Yahtzee. That's a good way. Don't put it in the cup.
Yahtzee, you mean, Mikey?
Shahtzee. There you go. Shartsy. Okay, look at us punching up each other's jokes. This is decent.
So Brandon,
it's the first time Chris has been punching up instead of punching down. That's what he's done for.
He's turned over a new leaf. I can see it.
Punching down.
No. Yeah, no, that means I'm sexy and I please the peasants.
I don't think you know what punching down means.
I don't think you know what punching. Like my British friends, whenever they used to see my ex, they'd be like, "Man, you're really punching up your weight class." Like, as in, like, she's way above your weight class. Like, you're not, like, physically, like, she wasn't fatter than me.
Weight class, punching down is... Anyway, we don't need to... I see what you're saying. It's wrong. And we can move on.
Whatever.
So, Brandon is going to play the role of Fast Eddie. All I could say is, who the fuck is that? Because they seem really excited about this, and I don't know if I should also be excited.
Should we know who Fast Eddie is? I'm not sure.
Anybody know who that is? Fast Eddie? Anybody?
It just seems, I guess it's like a character that Deco created, but they go about it like he's canon in their world. Like, let me introduce you to Fast Eddie. Like, as though we should have cheered, like, yo, Fast Eddie's coming back. Fuck yeah.
Literally never heard of Fast Eddie before. But hey, they get to building because it is time. And I love how after, the build happens, they don't really show you too much of it. It's kind of one of those, flash forward type of things. Dunn says, hey, it looks just like Bam's drawing.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, did he draw this shit on a napkin then? Or like what, how did this go down?
Basically, he had like the big Bristol board, right?
Because I've seen some of his drawings, and I mean, like, no offense. I mean, they're great, but, some of those Jackass sketch drawings, I don't know how you would, fashion that into something that you could go and, host a party of like 50 people in, but it's besides the point at this point. They do a zip line test. Dunn will be the test pilot for this, to which he says, I'm not your guinea pig. All it takes is for Bam to look at him and go, today you are. And that's it. He folds like a cheap table. Well, damn it. I guess I'm going in there. What'd you guys think of the zip line test? Did you have fun with the zip line test?
This was a fun segment, and it reminded me, Jay, the episode you and I did in another week that Chris was dead. We did the Iceland waterfall where Bam convinces Dunn to get in the in the barrel and go over the waterfall, and he'll just touch some of the rocks, as Bam says on his way down.
Right.
It's just that you can see how much control Bam has over this crew by just kind of like, hey, no, sorry, you got to, like, he just plays that card and it's like, you got to do it. He does this later in the episode as well when he's talking about rolling the die to see who has to wrestle the wrestlers. And they're like, that's so unfair. And then the next scene, they're just fucking doing it. I guess they know who pays the bills and they just got to play along, right?
Yeah, it's this whole test too, Mikey, is strange. Again, it feels like they're just filling time for the episode. Like, this episode does get better by the end when we get to see like the finale, but I feel like the in-between, there's a lot of weird shit. Like right here, they're just tossing watermelons at each other. They drop one on Raekyeon's head.
Did you not like this?
And start eating it.
I
was
liked
fine,
it. Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of feels like, why are we doing this? But I don't know. Maybe you guys liked it more than I did.
Well, Chris, where do you fall on this? Because this to me, you know how you were talking about that just like Never Neverland kind of thing? Mm-hmm. This is just a bunch of kids who are going to test a new zip line, and they're so ADD they can't even get to it. They just start hucking watermelons at each other's head.
You like watermelon, Chris? If the moon was made of watermelon, would you eat it?
Little Harry Carey?
I love watermelon, but I'm allergic to it, but I still eat it anyways.
Oh, no way.
No, like,
that's
serious.
How are you allergic to watermelon? How the fuck?
I don't know. It just makes my lips swell up and my throat like itchy and kind of feel closy, but like it's so good that I'll still eat it anyways. But I wouldn't eat it out of Rake's hair. I think I got a little thrown off by this because it just seems like a gross place to be and just to be around, and you're eating out of something that touched it. I don't know. That kind of threw me off. But the whole concept of we have a human, but he doesn't feel comfortable, so we're going to test it with a watermelon. And then even right before Dunn goes down, he's like, yeah, it weighs about the same as my foot. Like, this obviously didn't do anything. But I love how there was that random bushel of, what do they call it, like spiky trees or pokey branches or some shit?
Something like that.
The pricker bush.
Yeah, the pricker bush.
That's a new one.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure someone put that there on purpose, and I like that. It's fun. Like, why zip line to an ATM? Well, because they need fast cash. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Just gives them something else to do. They're bored. They're just looking for fun things to do, and they could do whatever the hell they want. And I love it.
Yeah, this one to kind of like pull on that video game metaphor that you had earlier, Jay. This feels like a side quest in pursuit of the larger quest. It's just like, okay, we got it. We know our goal is to make this Treetop Casino, but in doing that, we need to do a zip line. So let's go test the zip line. Like, it feels contained. It feels like it's still relative to the overall theme. It's not like they're just like running around and doing some random shit to fill time, like they did at the end of the Mardi Gras episode where they dumped the crabs on Rake, which felt like just a complete shoehorned in segment. Yeah. This feels like it's logical that we're doing this, and in the process, we're also having some fun with it. I actually really like this segment.
So, meanwhile, down at the airport, Leatherface and Executioner are here, and Rab's picking them up with Phil.
In the PT Cruiser.
I love the banter here.
For two big guys like that, come on.
In the PT Cruiser. Oh, my God.
And it looked like they flew private, too. It's like flying in private and pick them up in a PT Cruiser. Like, something's off here, but...
100%.
The thing is, the guys show up, like the wrestlers show up in full gear. Like, they're not just, getting changed when they get there. They're ready to go. And I love the banter here because Phil just kind of is standing face to face with these two guys in masks and full gear. And he's kind of like, "You're Leatherface. And, you must be Executioner. So, big gulps, huh?" Well, see you later. It's basically the tone I'm getting.
That's
from
my
it. Like, what do you say to
favorite
these
part of
guys?
any movie in the history of movies, by the way, Jay. So thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
It's
Happy
amazing
birthday.
to me. There's something really funny about when Rab gets out of the car, and like you're saying, he doesn't. The fact that he asks if the person in the leather mask is Leatherface is really funny to me. He gets out of the car, he's like, Leatherface? Correct me if I'm wrong. And like all of a sudden he looks behind him. There's this other dude just like sitting on a bench reading a paper. Like, no, that would be me. I'm Leatherface. I don't know who this guy is. I flew in with Jabroni over here. His name's Dustin. I don't know. He's Dustin. I'm Leatherface. That's Executioner. Yeah.
You get a lot of ADR recorded after the fact grunts from the Executioner here. Do you guys notice that?
Yes.
All
Very
recorded after the
ADR. Yeah. Yeah.
But they take him back to the house, and immediately in the kitchen, they're, that always seems to be the thing. You get off the plane, you drive, you get to someone's house. Everybody kind of just like fucking stands around in the kitchen for a while and talks before you go to your room and lay down. It's one of those moments. Vito does not approve of the wrestlers, though. Like, he even says it's not like the wrestlers we used to have. Ours were the color of boiled hot dogs, and they were racist.
The snookas and
those were our wrestlers, brother.
This whole thing was awkward. Like when Vito started insulting them, I was like, "Yo, slow your roll." Like I felt uncomfortable when it happened, especially because like they haven't even been giving a chance to settle in. Like Leatherface is still there's something really, really funny about a giant dude with a leather mask on rolling a tiny carry-on luggage with him everywhere he goes, and he is. I'm like, let him get into character before you start shitting on him.
It's what I love about Vito is he, out of most people I've ever seen in the world, literally doesn't care who the person is or the circumstance behind it. He will say exactly what he's thinking. Like the same thing as we were talking about with Tony Hawk. He's the only guy that's giving Tony Hawk shit or this. Like, there's something I appreciate about someone that he just doesn't see celebrity. He doesn't see social settings. He's just going to just react the way he wants to react. And to me, it always lands to some funny situations. Like when he starts, he's like, look at your arm, look at my arm. And you're like, how fucking delusional are you? Like he has reverse body dysmorphia.
To be fair, their arms aren't that different. These guys are not like in shape wrestlers. Like when he grabs his arm, I'm like, Vito, slow your roll. But you kind of got a point.
Well,
I don't know who would take who in that. Vito could just smother that dude.
Yeah, we do find out later.
Yeah, we do. We do. And wrestling is real, and it does tell who it is. But so I'm talking about how it makes me feel awkward when Vito starts talking shit to these guys, and they start to do like a fake, clearly staged wrestling match in there. And that, I think, is the most uncomfortable situation you could possibly put me in my life. It would like when professional wrestlers are like putting on a show right in front of you in the kitchen, and you have to be like, ooh, oh no, wow, like even Ape looks like she's kind of like
that's when you just get really intense and twist his dick, give him the old dick twist. Come on, man, this is an MMA fight. You ever see that?
Yes.
The old dick twist.
An old dick twist.
It has this setting though has the vibe of like if you went on a date with someone and they tried to do close-up magic with you and you have to pretend like it's, you know what I mean? Like it just feels cringeworthy in a weird way.
Define close-up magic.
Yeah, card tricks,
First
making
date,
coins
second
disappear.
I was thinking like, dick magic, like make the penis
That's pretty easy for you to do, Jay, right?
Yeah.
Actually, isn't your problem that you keep making it appear in public places with children around?
No, I was going to say the opposite of the same because it gets cold here in Calgary. It's cold. It keeps going and retreating inside my body. So it's
watch because inside your body's closer to where the poo is.
It's just like it's seeking out true north. What a
good.
walk.
That was art. You just witnessed like some fucking magic being made right there. That was I would.
Dude, why does my face look so red? Am I tripping out, or is it just my lighting? Like, it's actually concerning me. Like, am I about to stroke out or something?
Well, hey, if you want to see how red Chris's face is,
go to the YouTube.
Go check us out on YouTube. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So
Hey,
we're back out.
Before we move on from this, can we take a moment to talk about how Leatherface seems like a true sweetie? Like, he seems very much like a sweetie. When he meets Ape and he's like shaking hands, like, hello, my name is Leatherface. It's nice to meet. Like, he's very cordial. He's rolling around with his little like first day of school vibes with his carry-on. Everyone he's like introduced to executioners, he's doing his thing, but I don't know. It feels like maybe Leatherface was breaking kayfabe a little bit and not being the executioner, but it just made him come across as like a very cute dude. I like it.
Yeah. It's a nice change of pace. You're used to having to be this tough guy and you roll in, like you said, with that little luggage. You sit in the kitchen, you meet hey guys, how's it going? Can I get you some tea? How about some tea in the pirate bar? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, man.
I like it.
So the next morning hits, and Vito, he messed up the pirate bar bad, so Bam's pretty upset about that. So he's decided his punishment will be that he is going to have to wrestle Leatherface and the executioner once the casino is completed. And let's make a Vito sandwich. This is just way out of left field. Takes a couple slices of bread, turns Vito into a breadhead, one slice on either side. And I was just waiting for him to start eating the bread. I almost shut off the episode in protest when he did not eat the bread.
It's actually very out of character that he didn't. But the fact that the bread stuck to either side of his head was fucking hilarious.
Guys,
hey, by the way,
greasy. Yeah.
So when I was watching this, it became very clear to me that Gordon Ramsay was obviously a Viva La Bam fan.
Oh, right.
Because remember he said, what's this? And he did the breads, an idiot sandwich to that girl. Yeah. He stole this from Viva La Bam. He's clearly a massive Viva La Bam fan, and he remembered that moment and is waiting for the time he could be on TV one day and make someone an idiot sandwich.
You know what? It must be because Hell's Kitchen didn't start until 2005, which is after this.
Yeah, about a year after this.
No matter when it happened. Yeah, no matter when it happened, it definitely happened after Viva La Bam. What do you think, Jay? I'll start with you. What do you think a Don Vito sandwich tastes like? What's the main taste there?
Chicago,
man.
Chicago. Honestly,
okay,
well
not
said.
Jay, but okay, that's fine.
Jay, I purposely throw to Jay, and Chris is like, Chicago. I'll go with Chicago.
I'm gonna say Chicago. Fuck, I don't know. What kind of question is that, Mike? You introed that question like something like this was really important, and then I have to think about what a Vito sandwich tastes like.
Have some fun. It's fun. It is fun. You should think about what it tastes like. I think it tastes like dude eggs.
Dude eggs?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I forgot about that till just now. But yeah, no, I don't know what a Vito sandwich would taste like. That is a good question. Like, I can only imagine maybe it's not the taste, but it's the feeling afterwards. It's like when you're low on funds and you go and order like a bunch of shit off the value menu at McDonald's, and then after you're done, you just hate yourself for a couple days. You know what?
Feels right. I changed my answer from Chicago to it would taste like, or it would at least contain or have the smell of Zach's sashimi.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You know what? Yes. That is exactly what it would taste like. That's a great call.
Dude, we got to get down to the wrestling ring, though, because we got to put that shit together. The ropes are going on. We're tightening everything up, getting it nice and tense. And we got to do the test, though. So we get another test here. This is the rake test. We get to throw them around a little bit. We get a nice torture rack here, a couple tag team maneuvers. Brandon with the body slam as well. These guys actually know quite a few wrestling moves. Now, I don't know if they got, the wrestlers to show them this shit beforehand or if they just were practiced, but I was impressed.
I think Deco is notoriously a wrestling fan. I think he would have known this stuff.
I think if you flew in those two guys, there had to be enough wrestling fans to even, number one, know who they were, figure them out, and want to do this in the first place. Like, I think the three of us, if we were like in their situation, we probably would be able to bust out some pretty serious moves too.
You know what's fucked up? And this is just a peek into the lives of Chris and myself and the monster that Chris turned me into over the course of our childhood. I was watching this, and I guarantee you most people watching this scene are like, man, it would be so fun to like pull some wrestling moves on someone in the middle of a real wrestling ring. Because Chris used to like invite his friends over to beat me up, I was watching this, looking at Rake like, oh man, it'd be fun to get thrown around in that wrestling ring for a little bit. I swear.
We
I
turned you
swear
into a
that's where my
song.
head went.
We turned you into one of them.
You did. Well done. Your work here is done. Yeah. Oh my God.
I want to get hucked from
I
the
always
top
assume
rope.
those handcuffs underneath your bed were for the girl, not for you. But this is all starting to make a bit of sense.
Yeah. No, they're absolutely. It's tie me up, call me names, invite your friends over and beat the shit out of me.
See, I thought you were going to go the other direction with it. Like, you saw a rake there and you kind of you shed a little tear for him because you understood what it was like.
No, reverse psychology. You actually got
Chris
enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, like what
fucked him up good, Chris.
What's his name? Reek from Game of Thrones, where he
Did I reek you as a kid?
You reeked me as a kid. Hey, by the way, we're just moving past the fact that we go outside and the wrestling ring is like fucking built. Why does Tim Glom know how to do this?
That's exactly it.
YouTube doesn't come around until 2005. That's when YouTube came out. Same year as Hell's Kitchen. Go figure. I don't know what that has in common, but it is. So he can't even look it up to be like YouTube how to build a wrestling ring. He just fucking knows how to do it. It's wild.
I feel like if we were doing this stuff, like me and my friends crew, like I feel like Alec would be Tim Glom.
I think about that. I mean, that's very inside baseball because literally not a single one of our listeners knows who that is, Chris. But as a conversation, I totally agree. I've thought that there's a friend of Chris's who has the Tim Glom gene in him.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow. One of the many children out there of Tim Glom, the fatherless children of Tim Glom. That guy gets around. I can see it.
He crushes puss for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? And he is a good lover. He does it right every time. He's not selfish at all.
Very methodical. He plans it out. He brings a blueprint to the bedroom with him beforehand to show you what positions are going to happen. It's even got like the angles of measurement and everything. Like,
he does. He brings a protractor.
And he's a master at the jackhammer too.
He is a master at the jackhammer. Yeah. Also, little known fact about his sex dungeon: all of his tools and swings he built himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, good on Tim.
He had a little help from his dad, but he's. Listen, guys. Getting back to this for a minute, though, we see that we skipped over a lot of the construction of this, and I almost felt like watching it. It would have been nice to see more of like what went into building this place, because really the only other part we get in the construction phase is that they haul in a couple slot machines.
Yeah,
and that's basically it. Like, we're already, flip the switch. It's nighttime. Everybody's partying already. So here we go. I guess it's on now. We're going to spend a little bit of time here. We might as well. I think this is where the episode is at its peak. We get fucking Fast Eddie. He's here, guys. Fast Eddie. Mikey. Fast Eddie's here, huh?
Hey,
Fast
I
Eddie?
love it. He's finally here, guys. Yeah. We couldn't wait. Finally, we get to meet this Fast Eddie that we apparently should have known about before the episode even started.
Well, you know what? One thing I
don't get the
realized was about him.
What?
He's fast.
What's that?
He's definitely fast. He's definitely an Eddie.
Man, lives up to the name.
Big time.
Both those things are true. And I remember thinking, call me crazy. I remember thinking, it's not funny, Chris. I remember thinking when they said, this is Fast Eddie's Casino, I was like, no, not a fucking chance. That name's made up. This guy can't be both fast and be named Eddie. And it turns out God damn it, I was wrong.
Mikey, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing because every time when someone says, call me crazy, it reminds me, do you know what I'm going into? When I was kids and we're on the bus going from school.
Oh, yes.
And my buddy Matt, he's like, in the most sincere, earnest way, he's just like, guys, call me crazy, but doesn't Hollywood look like Hulk Hogan? I was like, bro, are you fucking...
Speaking of wrestling, this is in the NWO days.
He's like,
it was
man,
Hollywood.
That guy Hollywood really looks like Hulk Hogan. Like, dead serious. We're like, bro, are you fucking... A word that I'm not supposed to say anymore?
Okay. So you just put that in our head and make us deal with it.
If you think it, you're the bad person, not me.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got the whole crew here. Fast Eddie, maybe I don't get the hype, but once I heard that classic Brandon Deco accent, which sounds like basically every other accent that he does, still wasn't doing it for me. Gotta admit, wasn't doing it for me. I do love that guy, though, and he can be funny, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it on Fast Eddie, but I will say that some goddamn gambling happened that night, boys. Lots of gambling. And
it looked fun as fuck. This all looked so much fun.
Looked like a good party to be at. That'd be like a fucking great time. I mean, I was a little worried that the floor was going to collapse, but hey, you have Glom on the scene, so I'm sure
they tested it with Vito's car. That's just foolproof.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. Yeah.
Foolproof. But a bet does ensue here that is interesting. I mean, we get Dunn, talking shit as he does when he gets a couple beers in him. And he gets into the situation where basically, if he loses this bet, he's going to have to fight the executioner. But I'm thinking the whole time, this isn't that bad. Dunn fought that girl boxer that one time. And wrestling's not even real anyway, so I'm sure he'll do fine. I'm sure he's going to do fine, boys. Everybody gets in the ring. We're getting ready to go. And I just got to point out that Dunn is wrestling in a nice fall jacket here, wearing the... doesn't even take the fall jacket off. He even looks a little cold, like when you're maybe out in the winter cold for a little too long, you want to go warm up by the fire. You kind of got the shoulders hunched up. You're not really moving the arms, the limbs too much. Keeping things contained,
the body heat
close
tight,
to the
man.
body. Keep it tight. He kind of just runs in there, almost just kind of hugging himself. He's not really ready for the fight. It more so looks like he just wants to get the fuck in and out as fast as possible so he can get back to partying.
That's why I think this was 100% spontaneous. Like, if they planned this out, like we'll see in the later match, there was a wrestling choreograph thing. To me, Dunn doesn't know what to do in there. He's like, am I supposed to fight him? Am I supposed to do this?
It does look like that.
And then it looks like he just jumps on him and puts him into a chokehold because he doesn't want to get the shit kicked out of him, but he doesn't know if he's supposed to fake wrestle, real wrestle. And it seemed like he was literally almost choking out the wrestler because the wrestler didn't seem to expect it either. That's why he was on top of him.
I'm sure the wrestler was just kind of like, look, here's the thing. Professional wrestlers are very good at reading the situation. They have to, right? They don't always choreograph the entire thing before they go in. In fact, seldom do they do that. But I think you have to be good enough to read what the intentions are of the person you're in the ring with. And when Dunn just jumps on his back, he's probably like, okay, let's sell this as he's getting the better of me. I'm going to go down, pretend like I'm being choked out. I think it worked out because the guy seems like a professional.
Yeah. These guys were straight up professionals, if you ask me. The way they handled everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Because that's a wrestler's job, though. It's like you guys already said. You got to make these guys look good because they're not wrestlers. They don't know. And a good wrestler who can sell and can make things look convincing. Because I mean, in this next segment, especially, we're going to see a ton of that when we get Mystery Phil and Don Vito in full wrestling costume. I got to say, too, Phil's wearing like this just blackout mask that covers his face, and you got Don Vito in like a lucha mask. They come out, and immediely they look like they've been wrestling
100%.
A full career.
I thought it was Hurricane and Typhoon from the Natural Disasters.
There you go. So blown away by this. But yeah, that's the mark of a good wrestler. They can make anybody look good if they know what they're doing, and they do the job for Phil and Don Vito here.
Do you think they had to, because they wrestle and the match ends up with Don Vito and Phil winning? Do you think they had to get thrown a little bit more money to let Don Vito and Phil beat them?
Well, that's why I was saying that in my mind, they're definitely professionals and they're definitely like very respectable how they do it, because as much as, like you're saying, Jay, the best wrestlers are the ones that make the other ones look good. There's also a code in wrestling where there's an honor and respect, and they do not like outsiders pretending they're doing their job. That's always been the case. If it's the same thing happened with Steve-O. He always talks about it. He didn't know that he had to like stay still after the move, and he ended up literally getting the shit kicked out of him until he blacked out. So these guys to come in here, I guess they're paid and they're in these people's thing doing the stuff, but there still is that wrestling code and honor that was completely thrown out the window between how Vito was acting before,
100%.
How they get these two guys that don't know, how Dunn comes in. So I got to give a lot of respect to these guys, regardless.
Yeah. You imagine that if, like, this is the thing, though. You imagine that if these were, like, if they paid for two WWE wrestlers, this would have gone a whole different way. Because I don't think if wrestlers came in and they already had this clout, they'd be like, you guys don't understand what you're doing. You're making fun of my craft.
Exactly.
Like, you ran that risk, and there were moments of it being awkward because it is. It's like if you make fun of clowning to someone who actually went to school to be a clown, like they get really upset about it.
Yeah, but that's because they went to school to be a clown.
Of course. They've got much worse things to worry about than people making fun of clowns.
Yeah. But hey.
So the chaos kind of ensues in this one, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Bam comes in from not just the top
Royal
ropes,
Rumble,
from
dude.
the top
That is
rope.
fucking legendary, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, zip lines in. Yeah, classy move, you know. But it does, Mikey, you're right. It's chaos, and it is. It's like a Royal Rumble fucking breaks out. You got guys in the corner beating on each other. There's, you know, fucking moves happening left and right. I'm almost surprised no one got injured at this part of the match because there's so much meat in that fucking ring. You think someone's gonna, like, you know, throw someone into someone else the wrong way, or especially
and
like,
everyone's been drinking at this point too, right?
Zip line in general. We lost one of the greatest wrestlers of all time on a zip line.
We did.
True.
That could have been true. But it was like,
oh my God, dude, you know, speaking of, not to pull a Chris here and derail it to tell just a weird anecdote, but I was watching, but this has to do with Owen Hart. There was a clip that I was watching of a UFC wrestler. I'm going to quiz you on this, Chris, because Jay, I know you don't love your UFC, but there's a UFC wrestler, and in one of his premier fights, the announcers were talking about, like, who does this guy remind me of? Like, he looks like someone, and another announcer chimes in like 5 minutes later, like, it's a young Owen Hart. That's who you're thinking of.
When you say a UFC wrestler.
Sorry, UFC fighter. There's a UFC fighter, and there's a young guy. He's currently fighting, and there was a clip of one of his.
For sure.
Patty the Batty. Patty Pimblett looks like a young
I never
Owen
thought
Hart.
about that until this moment right now, but you're absolutely true. And the accent would throw you off, but if you're not taking the accent, you're like 100% I could see that for sure.
100% it looks like him. Yeah.
Fucking big ups to me for getting that on the fucking first try.
That was really well done. I didn't know if you were going to, but that was good.
I really don't have much more to say about this episode.
Yeah.
This is pretty much the highlight moment, just watching the action in the ring. Really enjoyed the appearances by, you know, Phil and Vito there, getting into costume, and just everything that this led up to. It really looked like a fun time. And yeah, it's just a fun episode. It's a little rocky getting to that conclusion, but yeah, it was fun. It was a fun day at the you know, a Sunday afternoon at the Margera residence. It really felt like. And yeah, that pretty much takes us to the end of this episode. We get the credits here. We get a little snippet of Rab ziplining down to the ATM to get some cash. Chris already mentioned that, but I still don't understand why they need cash if they're at Bam's house and these are all of his friends. But, you know, go figure. I guess they want to up the stakes a little bit.
They need a zip line to get fast cash for Fast Eddie, you know?
I understand.
One little punchline joke that someone makes at one point leads to a day of construction, and I fucking love it. I love that about this show.
Punchline? No, not a punchline, Chris. It's a zip line.
Oh my God.
The laugh track's playing. I don't know if you
Chris's
can hear
MVP is the ATM then? Am I on track there? Should we just jump into the MVPs at this point?
Let's do MVP, LVP, but I just want to get, you know, because we talked about last week's episode being very questionable, like not being that great of an episode. And at the beginning of this, when we talk about liking it, overall, all said and done, you know, we didn't have a ton to say. This is one of our shorter episodes, but what did you guys think of the episode as a whole?
I loved it. I said at the beginning, I thought it was fun. It's entertaining. I love how they think about this. And I think they even kind of make a nod to it at the end. I think Bam's like, we turned Arbor Day into this. And it's just like,
yeah, I
fucking love that. Like, who in the fucking wildest minds would have been like, what the hell's Arbor Day? Oh, it's about trees. All right, let's make a casino with a zip tie and a wrestling match. Like, so spontaneous, and they did it all in the same day. I hope that's true. Maybe it's camera tricks, who knows? But I just fucking love it, man. It's the epitome of what the show represents to me and what I love about it. So it was fun.
You too, Jay?
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Like I said, it drags at points, but overall, the payoff's good. I love me some wrestling, so had fun with this one.
I had a feeling that would be something that drew out a little bit more. Yeah, I think this episode, for you at least, because I know you love your wrestling, I think this one is like the definition of better than the sum of its parts, because it has moments where you're just kind of like the beginning, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then the scene in the kitchen when they're wrestling, and you're like, okay, whatever. But all in all, I look back on it and I was like, oh, that was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And I think, Chris, it has a lot to do with what you said, where it takes you on a journey that, man, it's like that game that we used to play in like kindergarten, where one person would write a sentence on a piece of paper, and then someone else would write the next sentence and fold over the first one, and then someone else would write the next one, and you read the whole thing. You're like, how the fuck did we get from like, today I baked a cake, and the last one is, and then I wrestled people at a outdoor casino. Like, it's fucking wild. I like that. I like that about it. Yeah. And before we get to the MVPs and LVPs, I do want to say a shout out. I feel like people now kind of expect this type of thing. It's worth bringing this up because, you know, I think they were two of the stars of the show, but Leatherface and Executioner Telly Blackwood is Leatherface, aka Ramses Nightingale, who is an actor. He's been in a few things since then. I don't think he peaked much more than being on Viva La Bam, but he was in a couple movies and continued on his wrestling career. And Executioner is MJ Broadway. Couldn't find a lot on this guy except his Facebook page, which hasn't been active since 2018. And apparently got hacked because it kind of ends with messages like, "Why change my pin? What do you want from me?" So I don't know what happened to him, but
that's great.
He's doing his best.
I hope he's all right, though.
I hope he's all right. And if you want to see more of these guys, you can see the Bloodhound Gang music video, because they're in that music video.
Oh, that's cool.
No way.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That is a blast from the past.
Glad you brought that up, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey, before we get to the MVPs, I will say a Don Vito sandwich probably tastes like if you have that gene when you eat cilantro, it tastes kind of like soapy and bad.
It doesn't taste like, you think Vito tastes like soap?
No,
Vito is the opposite of what tastes like soap.
I'm saying to some people he tastes that way. To others, he tastes perfectly fine. He's actually quite enjoyable between a couple slices of dense
I like Kobe beef. So
yeah.
There are a couple slices, there are a couple cuts of meat on Vito. I guarantee you that would be pretty good.
For sure. Like the cock meat.
There you go. See? We don't always talk shit about Vito.
Like
see?
Yeah, see?
MVPs.
All right, I'm going first.
Okay.
So my MVP is going to throw you guys off, but bear with me because it's a bit of a theory here.
Okay.
This is a wrestling kind of themed episode. You know, I take it as a wrestling themed episode. I'm giving my MVP to Ape because Ape was like the evil, perfect manager. The only reason why Phil and Don Vito won that wrestling match is because Ape spiked their drink in tea in the pirate bar, and that's what caused them to be drowsy, which allowed Mystery Phil and Don Vito to win the match. She was the perfect manager, so she's my MVP.
Holy shit.
Yeah, she was also carrying an urn with her during the match. And
I love it.
I love that, Chris. That's great. Jay, what about you?
Look, this is like a basic bitch answer because it's so obvious that I'm going to pick the two wrestlers just because for the single fact that that's my favorite part of the episode, but also the way they sold. They sold, and with no shame, to these complete non-wrestlers and made Don Vito cool for like 5 seconds, which is like a feat in its own. So, yeah, I really was impressed by that because honestly, I thought when these guys got off the plane that they were going to have a bit of an ego and they weren't going to want to like you said, Mikey, they were going to be very into that wrestler's code kind of mindset of, we don't sell for nobodies. Like, you got to respect our art form. But no, they totally bought into the whole thing and really made it work. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad someone did it because they definitely earned some attention there. I think my my MVP is going to be Reiki On, believe it or not. I think he had some subtle moments that really sold some of my bigger laughs that I had in this episode. The watermelon on the head. The fact that his whole plan when this happens, when they throw the watermelon on his head, you could tell his plan is don't react. I'm not going to react. If I don't react, I win. So they start eating the watermelon off of his head and then throwing the shards of like the eaten watermelon back onto his head. And to be fair, he doesn't react at all. He kind of wins that exchange. It's really funny, and he lets himself play the crash test dummy in the wrestling ring, and that made me laugh as well. I think Rake a well-deserved MVP for this episode.
For my LVP, there wasn't too much losers in this one, to be honest. Like I liked everything about the episode. I thought it was fun, so I'm gonna have to give it to the person who like had the worst loss. How the fuck did Dunn lose the dice thing? All fucking Glom had to do was roll a 6. Yes. Anything else, Ryan Dunn didn't have to wrestle, and he somehow fucking lost. So he's my biggest loser over there because that's amazing. Bad luck.
That's wild. Yeah, I love that though.
Mikey, go ahead. What do you got?
Oh, with me? Okay, I'm going to go with my LVP. This is a bit of a deep cut, but someone had to point this out because it was irresponsible and dangerous. In the wrestling scene, when everyone's, I get it. Everyone's having a good time. We've kind of eschewed danger in this. We know that, there's a little bit of an issue with having a treehouse casino built without a permit, hanging cars and trees. But the most dangerous thing that happens in this episode is when everyone piles into the wrestling ring and this guy in a fucking baggy beige jacket picks someone up and throws them on the ground in a very unsafe wrestling move. I had to rewind it a couple times to watch it. If you have this episode, go back and do it as well. It just felt irresponsible. It felt like it was disrespectful to the craft, and it was dangerous to the person who he moved. You get the LVP. I don't know who this person could have been, but I didn't like them. This is beige. It's more brownish orange.
This is orange.
And I'm not irresponsible.
You're definitely
brownish
not irresponsible. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm not going to hurt anyone in a wrestling ring. I'll let them do that to me, please. Jay, who's your LVP?
Well, guys, it's got to be Edward Parker Jr. all the way. 1932, born in Springfield, Missouri. He was an American pool player who was claimed to have been the inspiration for the character Fast Eddie. Now listen, guys.
Shit.
Parker started playing pool at like the age of 9 when his father had to work hard. He never this is a hardworking dad, real American, dirty hands at the end of the day. Come home, sit down, grab your dad a beer. I've worked my ass off kind of dad. He was a school superintendent. And with all that change, he only worked for $1.50 a day. He saved up his pennies and he bought his son a used pool table. And I'll tell you something, guys, after years of practicing in the basement alone, he learned to become the greatest pool player of all time. And now, after all these years later, he has a son, and this boy grows up, and he thinks he has the gall to call himself Fast Eddie. Of all things, this kid's never played a game of pool in his life. He doesn't even know what a bank shot is. Disgrace. And here he is on Viva La Bam TV selling himself out, drinking beers in front of the camera, doing bad
Have
accents.
some fucking respect.
And he thinks he can call
Minnesota
himself
Fats' son didn't do the same thing. You know what I mean? He actually did play some pool.
Oh,
it's Fast Eddie, Minnesota Fats from the movie The Hustler.
Oh no, I didn't know. Is that?
But hey, guys,
his name's Fast Eddie too?
I think so. That's what Jay reminded me when he was giving that amazing fact. But yes. Jay, you're absolutely right. This is just fucking disgusting. Nepotism, as Mikey said.
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely abhorrent, and I can't support this at all. But Chris, I think you'll like this next little fun fact about Eddie Parker Jr., born 1932, died February 2nd, 2001. He died at the age of 69.
Nice.
Yeah, of a heart attack, too. So, who knows? Maybe he was
Did he die of a heart attack with his partner's pussy in his mouth?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Nice.
For sure.
I mean, I hope so. Either that or doing what he loved,
What, isn't that it?
I was going to say playing pool, but I guess, yeah.
69, partner's pussy in his mouth, pool clue up her ass.
Hey, there you go. That's the Fast Eddie I know.
Just fucking chalking it up.
That's the Fast
proper.
Eddie I know and love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it was fucking Fast Eddie Jr., it would have been the pool cue up his ass. Let's be honest.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. All right, Chris.
What?
Sometimes I agree with you way too quickly. Realize I've gotten myself into trouble. I've heard it before. I've heard it before on the pod. Because never mind. Let's not get into it.
Some people like things in their butt. What's wrong with that, Mikey? What's wrong with you?
It's as Dennis from It's Always Sunny would say. It's the implication. it's the implication.
I think Chris, I think Mikey has this all wrong is all I'm saying. I think he has it all wrong.
Maybe I'm the bad one. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. Hey, quick shout out. And I'll do this every so often to people who are interacting with us on the old social medias. We had someone, and this is kind of a question just to lead us off here. Hey, Aliupa on TikTok, made a comment on one of our videos, about Bam Margera and called Bam Margera my generation's Logan Paul. And at first I was like, what? But knowing that like every iteration of a type of human being gets built on generation to generation, it's kind of true in a way. There's success. They're a good business person, as much as you hate to admit it. Sometimes what makes them successful is the love to hate element of it. I wouldn't say Logan Paul is nearly as cool. I think Logan Paul is much worse than Bam Margera in that sense, at least in the big. But what do you guys think about that? Yes or no?
It's interesting, but no one hated Bam. Bam didn't make himself off being hated. He was universally loved.
That's true.
Like Logan's whole shtick is you either hate him or love him. Yeah. But he's playing one side or the other, and you either love him because he's so hated, etc. Bam was just straight up cool, but I do get that rebellious, like out there in people's face type attitude. So maybe that holds some merit. But to me,
Okay. I can see that. I think if you swapped them though on the timeline and you put Bam in Paul's shoes and vice versa, I think you might be saying the opposite. You might be saying that, hey, nobody hated Logan Paul, but Bam, like everybody, his thing was you love him or you hate him. Because I really think the timeline matters.
That's
like the time they came up in. I think back in the 2000s, like it was cool to just kind of be a dick all the time and fuck with people. Nowadays, people kind of are a little more sensitive to that kind of stuff, and I think they see a character like Logan Paul, and they might feel a little put off by that. People have changed. The world has changed. But I don't know.
They wear two straps on their backpack now. I was always a single strapper. That was my favorite thing in 21 Jump Street. They go back. I'm like, motherfucker. Like, what are these fucking nerds doing? I've never felt the character
support.
More in my life.
That's what it is.
The what?
It's lumbar support. You got to take care of your back. It's not about
exactly my thing. Fucking caring about the environment and all that dumbass shit. Come on,
I want to know. Do kids nowadays still have that? That moment of like feeling cool one strapping or wearing your pants a little bit lower than you're supposed to, is there an equivalent nowadays to those types of things?
Yeah, it's called the fucking butt plug.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. Sorry, I was shooting for the moon there. It didn't. I expected a giant laughter, and everyone just stopped. And I'm like, "Oh my god, can we edit that?"
I'm sure there's something there. I missed it, but no, I think eventually it will come back to it, as it always does. 90s are coming back, and with that will be the single strap,
and then eventually again the butt.
I just think of that joke I posted on Insta.
What was the joke?
You commented, you laughed. I think I was like, people are saying 90s trends are coming back.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
You want to share it, Chris? Share it with the class?
No, it's okay. I think I got myself in enough trouble.
Okay. All right.
Well, hey guys, it looks like we've got one more episode to go over this season. So, that also means that new things are on the horizon, which is exciting as always. But until then, we've got to, I guess, do episode 8. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for the season finale, because usually the way these things go, they save something big for last. So let's hope it's good. I mean, I don't know if you can top Mardi Gras. It's been, I think, the standout for all three of us so far. Would you agree?
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll see what we got, though, next week on Thursday. Do not miss it. Remember, if you want to interact with us, we are online at... nobody fucking says that. Find us online. What is it like?
We're on the interweb.
We're on the interwebs.
Exactly.
We're
you can download us on Facebook.
We're going to delete all of our social media and just have a .com from now on, I think.
GeoCities. Find us on geocities.com/jackassPod.
Can we bring back MySpace?
MySpace, yeah.
We should get a MySpace. Yeah, we should get on that right away.
Oh, you could actually add us on ICQ. Yeah. Talk with us directly.
MSN Messenger, yeah.
What I was going to say is that you can find us at JackastPod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. Just you search it up, you find us, and tell us what you think. Are you of the generation? Like, which side of the generational gap are you on? Butt plug or no butt plug? What's your style? I'd like to know. Let us know. But until next week, when we are back with season 2, episode 8. Until then, bye. I'm Jason Wellwood.
Bye. I'm Chris Aaronworth.
Bye. I'm Mikey Aaronworth, and this has been Jackass.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
Get into it!